Botswana is an absolutely amazing country. It is perhaps the only place where you can camp to an unfenced campsite with a magnificent view to a river in which giraffes and elephants walk, where hippos swim freely, but so do crocodiles, and where there's a lot of antelopes, and so also wild predatory cats come here a lot. A marvel of place. And importantly, you know that animals are at home here, and it's the humans who sometimes come and maybe visit. We drive around, we stop where we see anything interesting, but even on a campsite, we are on a campsite right now, you can just grab a chair and right from your side, sitting around your fire, you can witness amazing sightings like this one. It was just yesterday when in one single day, with an unbelievably huge amount of luck, which I still find difficult to believe, in a single day we saw ellis, of course, giraffes, antelopes, warthogs, but we also spotted a leopard and we watched African wild dogs hunt down an impala, which was later stolen from them by a pack of lions. These kind of sightings, I think they're only in Botswana. So that afternoon we got a camping site right at the waterfront. We parked our cars, set up the tables and chairs and began making dinner. When the first attraction of the afternoon appeared on the opposite bank of the river, a 5-legged elephant. He crossed the river slowly and came out on our side, went a bit to the side, scrutinized our camp and decided it was of no interest to him, and so he walked by just behind the bushes. We just reminded our kids to stand still and not make any noise, and Ellie walked away peacefully. But in a quick succession we had another visitor, this time a hippo. He came out of the river almost in the same spot, but was clearly much more unhappy about us blocking his path. He would show his teeth a lot in a typical hippo way of telling us who's the strongest here, and to scare us away, of course. Hippos might look heavy and ponderous, but they aren't. They are highly territorial and can be very aggressive and dangerous, and surprisingly fast. So even though there was still about 15 meters or yards between us, it was getting tense. This standoff took a while, but eventually the hippo gave up and walked away. He didn't walk away far though, and we were still to see him again. A super short moment later, a commotion broke on the other side of our camp, and we saw 2 African wild dogs chase an impala into the river. One of them left right away, but the other one dragged the impala out of the river and, well, started eating it before the poor thing was even dead. The African wild dog would look around quite nervously, and not mainly because our friend Hippo came back to check what's going on, but more than that because a pack of female lions with cubs showed up on the other side of the river. The lions could clearly see that there was a free dinner waiting for them, but they were a bit reluctant to swim across the river. Still, not more than maybe 10 minutes later, the lions decided to cross the river, and so the wild dog fled the scene, leaving his prey for the big guys. Please note that the tree trunk on the left side of the screen is the tree where one of our cars was parked. This is all happening almost literally at an arm's reach from our side, the one where we were to spend the night at. Obviously, for the pack of lions, the impala was more of a snack than a dinner, but even more so, they took to devouring it most eagerly. Soon, some evening drives from nearby camps and lodges came to our camp and parked beside us to watch this show. Unfortunately, they wouldn't switch their engines off too quickly, so there was a bit of noise, especially that more and more cars were coming. It was getting dark rather quickly, when some of the lions would rip individual bones out of the carcass and take them to the bushes to eat them in peace. Those would be the bushes right around our camp, so you can imagine we were getting a bit nervous, or rather, a bit more nervous than we had already been. After 2 hours or so, it was dark night, the feast was coming to an end, and the visiting cars started to leave one by one, leaving us alone in pitch dark with these lions all around us. We knew that after a feast like that, the lions would likely rest, and most likely they wouldn't move to do that. Rather, they'd stay right there, which obviously was far from comfortable for us. But we noticed that although we could clearly see that the lions wanted to rest, they were also disturbed by the noises of car engines and the lights of our cars. So we decided to try and push them away in a sense. Start both our cars, turn the lights on, and slowly follow the lions right at their comfort perimeter. And it worked. Slowly they moved further and further away until we decided they were far enough for us to feel comfortable getting back to the camp and preparing our dinner. We did decide to skip the steaks that evening though. So if you like to spend your time just sitting and watching the wild, free animals who are not afraid, not trained and not forced to do anything, just being themselves, then Botswana is the absolutely perfect place for you. Just put up your tent and your camping chair and look at what unveils right in front of you. It's a wonderful show of wildlife that often happens right before our eyes.